The day my billionaire grandfather died, everything I thought I knew about family shattered. His lawyer looked me in the eyes and said, "You are the sole heir to his $5 billion fortune." My own family laughed, sneered, and demanded I hand it over. I refused. That night they kicked me out. Little did they know, the next morning would change everything. If you've ever been underestimated, betrayed, or told you're worthless, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and join me as I share a story of ultimate justice, where cunning beats cruelty, and the underdog proves she's unstoppable. Let's dive in. I grew up believing in my grandfather's kindness, his quiet strength, and his unwavering sense of fairness. He wasn't just rich. He was a man whose presence filled every room. People gravitated toward him, drawn by his generosity and subtle authority. And yet, even he couldn't shield me from the cruelty of my own blood. The call came late in the evening. I remember the lawyer's voice, calm and precise, yet it carried a weight that made my heart pound. "Miss Parker, I'm calling with news about your grandfather's will. You are his sole heir." I blinked, stunned. My mind raced. A $5 billion fortune, and I was the only one in the family to inherit it. It sounded surreal. I didn't have time to celebrate. My phone buzzed incessantly with calls from my mother, my older sister, and even distant relatives. "This isn't fair," my mother hissed through the line. "You need to give us our share. Grandpa wouldn't have wanted this. You can't just keep it all." My sister screamed, her voice cracking with panic. Or was it greed? I took a deep breath. Something cold, steely, and unfamiliar washed over me. I refused. "I'm sorry," I said, voice trembling but firm. "This is Grandpa's decision, not mine. I'm keeping it." The reaction was instantaneous. My family stormed into my apartment that very night, shouting, threatening, shoving. The argument escalated quickly. One moment, I was pleading, the next, I was shoved into the street with nothing but the clothes on my back. I remember standing there, shivering under the streetlights, the echoes of their laughter and threats ringing in my ears. My heart thumped not with fear but with a furious clarity. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to cower. I would fight not with fists, but with every tool at my disposal. By dawn, I packed what little I had and moved into my grandfather's mansion. The place was immense, almost a city unto itself. Marble floors stretched endlessly. Crystal chandeliers reflected the rising sun in dazzling patterns, and the air smelled of wealth, history, and secrets. As I stepped into the main hall, I felt a strange mix of awe and vindication. This was my grandfather's world, and now, it was mine. I spent the day walking through the rooms, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't known since the night before. But the sense of impending confrontation hung over me like a storm cloud. I knew my family wouldn't let this go. Sure enough, by mid-afternoon, the inevitable arrived. They pulled up in their luxury SUVs, faces twisted with rage, eyes gleaming with entitlement. "Open the door," my mother shouted, her tone more like a command than a plea. "This is our family home." "Out of the way," my sister barked, pushing the butler aside. "You don't belong here." I stayed perfectly still, almost like a statue, and smiled. I had anticipated this. They expected fear, tears, perhaps even submission. They weren't prepared for confidence. Then, from the corner of the grand hall, he emerged, tall, impeccably dressed, with an air of uncheckable authority, my grandfather's personal security chief. A man whose loyalty had been absolute for decades. He had trained in the finest institutions, served in the most sensitive assignments, and he was on my side. "Everyone, please step back," he said, his voice calm but ironclad. "No one will enter this mansion without the heir's consent." The color drained from my family's faces. Panic, disbelief, and fear rippled across them like a physical wave. "What, who?" my mother stammered. "Meet Mr. Donovan," I said, my voice steady, almost playful. Grandpa trusted him with everything, and now, he's here to make sure the wishes of the late Mr. Parker are respected. They froze. Every ounce of their arrogance, every sneer, every threat, they crumbled under the quiet force of Mr. Donovan's presence. "I think a reminder is in order," he continued. "Miss Parker is the sole inheritor of all assets. No exceptions, no negotiations, and anyone attempting to force her out will be met with legal consequences, and a physical escort out if necessary." I watched my mother's jaw tighten, my sister's face pale, my uncle's hands tremble. This was at the turning point. I didn't need to yell, fight, or beg. The power dynamics had shifted completely, and they knew it. But I didn't stop there. I wanted this moment etched into their memories. I invited them to sit in the main hall, not because I feared them, but to make them feel the full weight of their misjudgment. I gave them a tour each room, each artifact, each piece of artwork, accompanied by a story of my grandfather's generosity and wisdom. They listened stiffly, as the mansion's grandeur pressed upon them, a living testament to what they had tried to steal. "So you see," I said softly, savoring the tension in the room, "Grandpa left everything to me because he believed I would honor it. He trusted me to manage it responsibly." Silence, heavy, suffocating silence. Then came the subtle, exquisite twist. I pulled out a document freshly notarized, detailing the creation of a trust fund, specifically designed to prevent any family interference. I had spent the morning with Mr. Donovan and my grandfather's lawyer, ensuring every loophole was sealed, every legal avenue blocked. And to make it even clearer, I added, any attempts to challenge this will result in immediate legal action. You've already crossed the first line tonight, consider this your warning. The look on their faces was priceless. Rage, disbelief, helplessness all mingled together in a potent cocktail of humiliation. I could see it, the same people who had laughed at me, who had tried to shame me, who had believed I was weak, now realized just how wrong they had been, and for the first time in my life, I felt utterly vindicated. They left that day, defeated, humiliated, and unable to even voice another demand. I stayed behind, walking through my grandfather's mansion, feeling a sense of peace that went beyond wealth or power. It wasn't just about money, it was about being seen, respected, and validated. In the weeks that followed, I took steps to honor my grandfather's legacy: charity foundations, business ventures, and careful management of the fortune he had entrusted to me. Mr. Donovan remained a loyal ally, a quiet but powerful presence that reminded everyone who truly held the power. And my family, they learned a hard lesson. Greed has a price, entitlement has consequences, and underestimating someone you thought powerless can lead to your ultimate humiliation. The pinnacle of revenge wasn't flashy or violent. It was quiet, it was legal, it was psychological. Watching my family realize, slowly but undeniably, that they had lost completely was the sweetest vindication I've ever felt. They tried whispers, subtle manipulation, even lawsuits, but every attempt failed. I had built a fortress around the inheritance, around my grandfather's legacy, around my own dignity, and nothing they did could touch it. The final moment came when my mother, once loud and commanding, walked past the mansion one afternoon. She paused at the gates, looking in, hoping for reconciliation. She found only me, standing tall, smiling, with Mr. Donovan by my side, both unshakable and unyielding. No words were exchanged, none were needed. The message was clear. I had not only survived their betrayal, I had thrived. Life teaches you that justice isn't always about vengeance, it's about balance, foresight, and ensuring the wrongdoer cannot harm you again. True triumph comes from preparation, patience, and unwavering self-belief. If this story gave you chills, or made you rethink the power of persistence and cleverness, hit like, comment below with the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed, and subscribe for more stories of justice, cunning, and triumph. Remember, sometimes the quietest victory is the loudest roar.